Today's question is, can I analyze the argument for clemency in the case of Lyle and Erik Menendez? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoy this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis. Joseph Lyle Menendez was born on January 10, 1968, in New York City. He goes by the name Lyle. His brother Erik Menendez was born on November 27, 1970, in Blackwood, New Jersey. The brothers were raised in New Jersey by their father Jose and their mother Mary Louise. Their mother went by the name Kitty. Jose was an executive for RCA Records, and the family was wealthy. In 1986, they moved to California, so Jose could serve as the CEO of a film studio called Artisan Entertainment. In 1988, Jose purchased a 9,000 square foot mansion at 722 North Elm Drive in Beverly Hills. The price was $4 million. Lyle and Erik became involved in burglaries. Lyle largely avoided consequences, but Erik had to serve probation. Now moving to the timeline of the crime. On August 20, 1989, at 11:47 p.m., Lyle Menendez called 911 and told the operator that someone had killed his parents. When the police arrived to the Menendez family mansion in Beverly Hills, they found Jose and Kitty dead from shotgun blasts. Here is what the police found during the course of their investigation. Jose had been shot 4 or 5 times, and Kitty had been shot 10 times. The attack started in the den. Jose had been killed right away as he sat on the couch. Kitty had been chased down as she tried to escape. The fatal shotgun blast was delivered to her cheek as she was on the floor. Initially, the police believed that intruders may have committed the murders. They were so confident that Lyle and Erik were not involved, they did not even test their hands for gunshot residue. Eventually, the behavior of the brothers led the police to become suspicious. For instance, Lyle and Erik did not hesitate to spend the Menendez fortune. Lyle bought a Buffalo Wing restaurant in New Jersey, a Porsche Carrera, and a Rolex watch. Erik hired a full-time tennis coach. The brothers went on expensive trips to the Caribbean and to London. They spent about $700,000. Eventually, Erik told a mental health clinician named Jerry Oziel that he and his brother had committed the murders. Jerry was having an affair at the time. He told his mistress about Erik's confession. The mistress later told the police. On March 8, 1990, Lyle was arrested for murder. Erik was arrested 3 days later when he returned from a trip out of the country. The case went to trial in 1993. The brothers were tried together, but with separate juries. This trial was televised, and there was a media frenzy. The state's case was straightforward. They believed the brothers killed their parents to inherit the $14 million Menendez family fortune. The brothers had purchased the shotguns from a store in San Diego 2 days before the killings. On the night of the killings, they retrieved the shotguns from a vehicle, entered the mansion, and killed Jose and Kitty as they watched a movie in the den. They ran out of ammunition before they could finish off their mother, so they reloaded and killed her as she tried to crawl away. Prior to Lyle calling 911, the brothers disposed of their clothing and the shotguns. The defense argued that the brothers were justified in killing their parents because Jose had committed offenses of a sexual nature against them. Kitty did not engage in this activity, but she was described as narcissistic, mentally ill, and addicted to substances. The defense claimed that she encouraged Jose to harm the brothers. Lyle and Erik said that in a series of confrontations, Jose had threatened to kill them. He was worried that they would expose his bad behavior. The last death threat occurred on the night of the killings. Jose closed the door to the den, which scared the brothers because this behavior was out of the ordinary. They thought he was getting ready to kill them. Therefore, they went outside, retrieved their shotguns, re-entered the mansion, and killed both their parents. After shooting their parents, the brothers waited in the house, believing the police would arrive any moment due to the shotgun blasts. When the police never showed up, the brothers left the mansion, concealed evidence, and returned home. This is when Lyle called 911. In January 1994, both juries were unable to reach a unanimous verdict, and a mistrial was declared. In August 1995, the brothers' second trial started. There were a few differences this time. This trial was not televised. Testimony about alleged mistreatment by Jose was greatly limited, and the jury was only allowed to consider the lesser charge of manslaughter for the killing of Jose, not for the killing of Kitty. On March 20, 1996, Lyle and Erik Menendez were each convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder. In July of that same year, they were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Over the next several years, the brothers appealed their convictions several times, unsuccessfully. In April 2023, a former member of the band Menudo, named Roy Rosello, said that, when he was about 14 years old, Jose had conducted an assault of a sexual nature against him when the Menendez family lived in New Jersey. Roy's allegation represented new evidence and resulted in Lyle and Erik filing a habeas petition in May 2023. On October 3, 2024, the Los Angeles District Attorney indicated that his office will be reevaluating the convictions of the Menendez brothers. A hearing is scheduled for November 29, 2024. This new development gives hope to the brothers of not dying in prison. Now moving to my analysis. Lyle and Erik Menendez maintain that they were justified in killing their parents, and they have a number of supporters. Some people believe they are completely innocent, while others believe what they did was wrong, but due to mitigating circumstances, the penalty of life in prison is too harsh. For example, Kim Kardashian wrote an article saying that, despite the horrible crime, Lyle and Erik should be set free. Many people, of course, disagree. They argue that the brothers committed premeditated parricide motivated by greed, and they understood the difference between right and wrong. Their actions did not represent self-defense. This brings me to the question, should Lyle and Erik Menendez be set free? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that they should be released from prison, starting with the factors that support this theory. In addition to the allegation made by Roy, there is other evidence that the brothers were telling the truth about Jose being an offender. For example, a cousin named Diane Vandermolen said that, in 1976, Lyle told her that Jose was mistreating him. She further stated that Kitty knew about the mistreatment, but failed to stop Jose. Another cousin named Andy Cano said that when Erik was 13, he told him that Jose had mistreated him. Erik wrote a letter to Andy in December 1988, 8 months before the killings, indicating that he was afraid of his father and mistreatment had occurred. This letter was not discovered until after Andy's death in 2003. Lyle and Erik have been model prisoners. They have never caused any trouble, despite believing they would never be released from prison. They don't have a lot of incentive to follow the rules, but they do. Now moving to the factors that contradict the idea that the brothers should be released from prison. At the time of the shooting, Lyle was 21 years old and Erik was 18. As adults, the brothers could have left the mansion at any time. There was no need for violence. The killings were premeditated. The shotguns were purchased 2 days earlier. Even if one were to believe that Jose had committed horrible offenses, neither he nor Kitty represented a threat to the brothers on the night of the killings. They were watching a movie and unarmed. The killing of Kitty was particularly sadistic. The brothers wounded her, reloaded, then shot her on the floor as she desperately tried to escape. The brothers' story about feeling threatened by their parents doesn't make any sense. They went out to a vehicle to retrieve the shotguns. If they felt threatened, why didn't they call for help or simply leave the mansion? They could have just driven away in that same vehicle. The brothers claim that after the shootings, they expected the police to come and arrest them. There is no reason to believe that is true. The brothers picked up the spent shotgun shells, disposed of the shotguns and the clothing, tried to create an alibi, and lied to the police. Their story about waiting for the police was designed to make it seem like the concealment of the crime was not premeditated. Jose had told his sons that he had removed them from his will. Lyle tried to destroy Jose's will on the family computer and the brothers went on a spending spree after the killings. This makes it look like they were interested in money. The brothers never mentioned mistreatment or self-defense when talking to the mental health clinician, Jerry Oziel. After Erik confessed to Jerry, Lyle threatened to kill Jerry. After Lyle was arrested, he asked a former girlfriend to falsely testify about Jose offending against him. When considering all the evidence in this case, do I think that Lyle and Erik Menendez should be released from prison? The unparalleled wisdom of Kim Kardashian notwithstanding, my answer is no. In my opinion, the brothers are exactly where they need to be. One of the most popular arguments in support of Lyle and Erik asserts that times have changed since 1996, when the brothers were convicted. The understanding of crimes related to sex has evolved. We now understand more about how victims reveal information and how they process trauma. If the brothers went to trial these days, they would be treated with more compassion, and the jury would believe their claims about the mistreatment. I think the understanding of this type of mistreatment has evolved, but not as it relates to homicide. Society is not okay with children murdering their parents. I'm not aware of any published study arguing that mistreatment justifies homicide. If anything, I think society has gone in the other direction as far as mental health defenses. Juries are less likely to believe that a defendant should be excused based on extreme feelings at the time of an alleged offense. Again, there was no imminent threat in the Menendez case, and the brothers were adults. At best, this was a revenge killing. At worst, it was motivated by greed and sadism. Even if the alleged mistreatment of the brothers did mitigate culpability, they would still be guilty of manslaughter for killing their father Jose and guilty of murder for killing their mother Kitty. The evidence that Kitty was involved in the mistreatment is not convincing. Lyle and Erik killed her because she needed to be dead for them to access the inheritance. They never believed she was a threat to them. I think what happened in this case is that Lyle and Erik have had all the time in the world to maintain their innocence, refine their story, and garner sympathy through good behavior in prison. Jose and Kitty Menendez never had this opportunity to tell their side of the story, and they never will. Sometimes two things can be true simultaneously, but remain unconnected. Jose may have been an offender, and his sons may have been murderers. The first item did not necessarily cause the second. Now moving to my final thoughts. There is no way to know if the Menendez brothers will be released from prison, but the latest developments in their case represent their best hope. A Netflix documentary titled The Menendez Brothers is coming out on October 7, 2024. This documentary will feature audio interviews of the brothers from prison. No doubt, Lyle and Erik will continue to make an argument for their freedom. I'm not sure there's anything they can say that will change my opinion, but if the film is interesting, I will make a video about it and update the case accordingly. Those are my thoughts on the argument for clemency in the Menendez brothers case. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They consistently generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.